bookworms. Today I'm going to do my October reading wrap up. I read quite a few books and yeah, I'm excited to talk to you about them. I think it's gonna be almost the last video you'll see with this decor because you know it's already, we're like beginning of November, and honestly I think although I enjoyed it, I think I'm ready to start decorating for Christmas, and I don't have as many decorations for Christmas, so it'll be a work in progress. But anyway, I'm excited to change the decor, although I really enjoyed it. This is all very, very cute. You'll see it next year. Regardless, you're not here for that. You're here for the reading update. So let me start with the ones I don't physically own, or else I'll just completely forget them. And then I have my stack of books just right here of the books that I read. So let's start. The first book that I read that I don't own was The Hola by Jennifer Marie Thorne. I read this on audiobook, so I took it from my library. And honestly, I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's for everyone. The main character is awful. Her family is awful, but in different ways. Anyways, I enjoyed it anyways. And you have like this haunted house in Italy, which was really cool. And yeah, there was a lot of elements that I really enjoyed. I understand why some people don't like it as much. I personally enjoyed it. If you want like more thorough thoughts, I read that one in my spooky reading vlog. I think the first one. I went more like in details on it, so you can see that. It was fun. It was fun. I think I gave it like a 3.5, and it was very entertaining for me. So that's the first one. Then another one that I read that I don't own is The Brides of High Heel by Nevo, and that is a novella in like her novella series. Another one that I read that I don't own is The Brides of High Heel by Nevo, and that is a novella in like her novella series. I think the first one is The Empress of Salt and something. But anyway, it's part of her series. Really enjoyed that one. Had some like spooky elements to it that worked really well. And again, I love this like rich world that Nevo like constructed. I gave it a 4-star. I think it completely deserves it. And as a whole, to me, that series is very close to a 5-star. I've never been disappointed by any of those novellas. Some might be favorites, and like others just very, very entertaining and good and nicely written. For this one, like this is an instance that the story was really cool. The writing, I have nothing to say. I love Nevo's writing, but it wasn't as favorite as, for example, the first one. I just really, really enjoyed the first one, and yeah, and I've had like another couple of ones that I really enjoyed in the series. So the other one that I listened on audiobook was The Black Girl Survives in This One. So that was an anthology. I talked a little bit about it in my spooky reading vlog too, but I didn't really go into that, and also because it's an anthology, it's not something that I would do in general. But I would say overall, to me, that was a 4-star. You know, some hit better than others, some worked better than others for short stories. When I say don't like some short stories, you know that they've been like cut short, and like it would have been better if they had a bit more background or a bit more story or a better ending, or like not a better ending but a more thorough ending. While others, it's like you can't even imagine it not being a novella, and if yes, it would be a full-fledged, you know, novel to really go in details. But like I feel like the perfect novellas are like just so satisfied with the length and the information you got and how the story was paced through the novella. So it did have some of those. For me, there were really some good highlights in there that I still think about. So it was a good anthology, and for like if you want horror and like discover new authors, I thought it was really entertaining. I really, really enjoyed it. It's one of an anthology, like horror anthologies, that I would recommend if you're looking for that. The last book that I read that I don't own is The Princess and the Grilled Cheese Sandwich. Oh my god, sorry, I have such a hard time saying it. The Princess and the Grilled Cheese Sandwich by Dea Muniz. And it was such a random pick for me. I feel like I'm in a mood right now where I read so many things horror-like, maybe some thrillers, that I think I need like a breather from it. Even though like I still have like I'm in the middle of one, and then I have another audiobook that I really want to finish. and then I have my middle grade book that I want to finish. So I am in the middle of a few ones still, but I'm kind of looking to like find some variety in my reading because it's getting to be a lot. Like I'm not as excited to pick him up, which sucks because I don't want to be there and I want to force myself to be in that place where I'm not excited about the books I'm currently reading. So yeah, that one was a palate cleanser that I really needed. It was the cutest graphic novel there ever was. One of the cutest graphic novels and stories, and it had everything. It's queer, it's colorful, it's dramatic, it has fashion. I love this so much. I feel like it's a comic book version and smaller version of like Paradise Kiss. Do you guys know about Paradise Kiss? It's so old. I don't think a lot of people know about it or still talk about it. But yeah, anyways, so that's kind of the parallel. It's like it was a shorter, cuter graphic novel of like that kind of idea of having fashion and drama and romance involved. That's all in there. And yeah, it was really fun. It was a great palette cleanser. It's like 4 stars. Love the color palette, love the art. It was really entertaining. I think it took me just a couple of hours. I was flying through it. I enjoyed the story so much and I love the characters. So yeah, that was really cute. Now for the books that I physically own. So I thought it would be fun to like categorize them in like very random categories. The first one that I would have is A Journey Must Be Made. I think there was a journey in this book. So these are the 3 that fit in this category. And without going into too much details, because I really thoroughly reviewed, I feel like all of the ones I physically own in either my spooky reading vlogs or my latest Latinx Heritage Month reading vlog. So really you have all of those details. So yeah, let me go with this one. This one is self-explanatory. There is a travel. The cousin travels to see her other cousin. And this was so entertaining. Les Cousines Vampires was this fun, slightly spooky vampire story that was just told in the best way, because you follow it through this main character who's very bubbly, but not in an annoying way, more like bubbly in a life is great, life gives you lemons, I'm a lemonade, but still kind of realistic about it. And then she goes to meet her cousin who she used to hang out with when they were younger, not anymore, and then she comes to see her. And then you already know that with the other cousin something is wrong. You know very quickly what it is, like what's wrong with the cousin, but you follow through her point of view, who has no idea. So it's her being clueless about all of these things is the cutest thing ever. It's so funny. Like, it made me laugh out loud very many times. So this was really fun. So yeah, the cousin needs to travel back to this very old castle they used to like summer vacation at. So that's kind of like the beginning of this story. The other traveling that happens, or at least I would say more journey than travels, the journey in this one for Dark and Deepest Red by Anna Marie McLemore was, there's a point in this story where the characters need to make a journey to find what's happening and find a solution. That's basically what I'm really just it was hard to find the categories for these books that weren't like completely obvious, because most of them have like a spooky element, so that would have been way too easy. So like I'm always trying to like think outside the box here. And in this one, again, I talked about it in my spooky reading vlog. So this was fun. This was a bit of a letdown just because in the there's 2 storylines, and one was like not my favorite and the other one was very interesting for me. But in general, the writing was really fun. It kept me going, it kept me entertained. I think you don't have to like want all the answers, because it's not that kind of story. And at the same time, it's interesting because it is taken from a historical event, which is La Fièvre de la Danse. Isn't that a movie? Yeah, anyways, so it's like based on that, but there's not a lot of information on it. And I love the authors afterward because you can kind of like put yourself in her shoes of like how she came about to writing this book. And yeah, there's not a lot of things written about this event, so it was fun to see the facts that she was able to get mixed in with, you know, all the themes she wanted to explore, all the stories, the relationships she wanted to explore. And I thought it was very interesting. And I think my favorite part was the 1518, like, and not just that year, but I mean like that point of view, like in the 1500. So that was really fun. I enjoyed that. Another one for Journey is The Red Sister. So this is a play by Thompson Highway. The story accumulates to the point where they all come together for a journey to a bingo place, to like a bingo event. And it was so entertaining, and I think I would have loved to see it as a play. And this is one where it loses a bit of the charm when it's not a play, because I feel like if I were to see actors portraying these characters, I would get so much more out of it, you know, whether it's like the mannerism, the interaction would be more fluid, more, I don't know. I think it would add more, of course, to the story. So nothing is that, you know, I feel like that's true for every good play. You feel like you would get more out of it if you saw it as a play. So yeah, but this was really fun. I'm glad I read it. I started it on the National Day of Reconciliation and Truth. And then I finished it, I think, like the next day, so like October 1st. So that was very interesting. And it's more about the family, I would say, than a critique or than a discussion of indigenous like issues we might have, or history and all of that. And yet, because it's about the family and they're indigenous, it is about that. You know what I mean? And it's subtle, because it brings up those issues, but in this very small moment in their lives, and how they connect to each other, what they've been through, what they're going through now, what they view as this most important thing to participate, which is this bingo event that's hours away, and they need to find a way to get there. And it was very interesting. I enjoyed this a lot. For the next category, it's a mix of started series and mainly characters that like have to discover a power in themselves. So these are the three in this category. The first one is The Moth Keeper by Kay O'Neill, and this you follow, this I absolutely loved. If you're able to see my first spooky reading vlog, you can see shots of the inside, like some of the pages, and it's so beautiful. Kay O'Neill does no wrong for me. They have an amazing art style. I love the color palette they choose every time, so this was no exception. So you basically follow this character who becomes the Moth Keeper, and by doing that, it means that they kind of have to be apart from their community basically every day, which means it's hard for like on their morale, but it's hard like physically, it's hard on keeping up relationships, which is something that it's hard to reconciliate, considering it's a very, very important role, and like the community needs someone in that role. So it was so interesting to see the character going through this, but like finding it in themselves to be their own way of being a moth keeper. So in that, there's like a true development of the character on how they're growing up, how are they fitting in this role, how are they not fitting in, like the expectations, everything. It was very interesting that it was deep in that part. And the rest, it was just beautiful. I love the setting. I love the concept of having like night people and day people, and like they're equals. Like there's no bad things. Like everyone has their good things and their bad things, and mainly it's just that it's a sleeping pattern, and it's like a different reality that works for these people, and of course one can go to the other. Like there's no rule against that. So it's beautiful to see that there's like a choice of living in that kind of community. It was really great. I enjoyed it. The other one is The Witches of Brooklyn by Sofia Escabas. So again, you're following Effie, that by having her mom passed away and having to live now with her aunt, she kind of has to discover herself a little bit, not only being without a mom, I guess, but mainly her aunt and her friend are witches. So she kind of has to discover in herself that power that she has, and she's kind of reconciliating with the fact that, like, you know, she has those powers, but did she always have them? How are they developing? You know, like, are they to making sure that they're not getting out of control? And especially in this moment of change where it's the new city and the new living environment, she's making new friends and all of that. So that was really interesting, and this is really fun. This is like a first in the series, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to continue it because it was very entertaining. And I love Effie's relationship with her aunt. It's super funny. The next one is The Library of the Dead by T.L. Hutcho, and this was really fun. This is again the first one in the series. A trilogy, I want to say. I'm not sure. You follow Ropa, who is living in this very weird dystopian Edinburgh. That's something has happened in the government financially, economically, and some of the things have gone like a little backwards while some of the things have stayed the same. And there's also the aspect of magic that's like very normal and part of everyday's life. And in this case, Ropa's has an affinity of like speaking to ghosts, and like that's kind of her state, that's her job. She talks to ghosts for the living, or actually she talks to ghosts, and it's kind of to give the living the messages that these ghosts are giving her. Am I making sense? I'm not sure. It's super simple. She talks to the ghosts. I'm not mad at you, I'm mad at myself. She talks to the ghosts, and the ghosts give her a message to give to the living. And that's her stake, and that's kind of like how she makes money. That's kind of her thing. And then her grandma does a bit of magic, but of course she's working to take care of the grandma who's ill and blind. And then her little sister that she is going to school. So you follow Ropa as this 15-year-old that dropped out of school because, you know, she preferred, like, first of all, I'm guessing she needed the money to sustain her family, but also she's very of the mindset of, if I want to know something, I'll learn it. And she didn't think any of that school curriculum was very interesting and useful. So that's kind of like the setting of it, and the discovering part of herself, I think, begins more once she goes in the library of the Dead, where everything kind of derails her life, and now she's like involved in this whole other world, and it involves learning about herself, learning about this other world and this magic that's there. And as someone who grew up with her her grandma teaching her magic and she was never able to, she's kind of like finding it hard for her to be that person and work towards that, knowing that she was never able to before. It's really interesting. And of course this is like for like, I'm saying it in the point of view of like this category, but it's basically, it's a mystery. So you're following her as she meets a ghost, per usual, and this ghost kind of like begs her to find her son, but doesn't have any money, of course, and she accepts the job. But yeah, it's kind of like a pro bono case that she's taking, and everything kind of, yeah, she's doing that on the side, and then it takes a bigger part. And her discovering the Library of the Dead also takes a lot of like space. So it's really interesting. There's a lot packed into this book, and it was really fun. And it's not that big of a book. It's like 300 pages. Granted, the book is kind of big, you know, for a paperback, but it was really interesting. It was really entertaining. So definitely, I have the second one, so I'm definitely reading that. And by reading, I mean audiobook, because if it's the same narrator as the first one, I think I prefer the audiobook. It was so fun to listen to, like, that accent. So there's that. The last category, and as you'll see, I kind of gave up a little bit. Someone dies. Someone dies in these books. It's kind of a bit of a driver, or it's the premise, it's part of the premise. So that's the category. First one, The Angel of Indian Lake by Stephen Graham Jones. I'll stop talking about it because I feel like I've talked about it a lot. I just love this end of trilogy, and I love this trilogy. And honestly, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna talk to you more about that than that. If you want, you can see the other videos, but know that I really enjoyed this. And yeah, it's one of those stories that, without spoiling the third one, a lot of people die in this series. A lot of people die in this series. So there's that. And they're all kind of driving factors, you know, like they're all, not all, a lot of them are very pivotal too. So next one, you wouldn't expect it, but it's Don't Date Rosa Santos by Nina Moreno. So here you have Rosa's father and grandfather that passed away at sea. And then she's living, you start a book with her kind of living with the looming fact that everyone thinks in their city that they're cursed. That the woman and her family are cursed because, well, their husband dies at sea and in very unfortunate circumstances. And then it kind of develops more, of course. Like, this is just the very beginning, but it's basically also something that happens of, like, she always has in the back of her mind that she's cursed, that she shouldn't go near the sea. And yes, this is a YA romance contemporary that I really enjoyed, that I don't think a lot of people talk about. It was so entertaining. I could sympathize so much with Rosa, and of course it's romance, so things happen, and it was the sweetest romance. Like, it wasn't too much, it doesn't take too much space, because I feel like she's already going through so much with her deciding where to go to college, this event happening in their neighborhood that she's kind of planning the whole thing. And yeah, I feel like there's so much happening, and just in general her relationship with her, like her mom and then her grandma, that are worked in the fact that, you know, like choosing which college and for what. And so yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and I like that the romance part didn't take away from those, but actually added onto it in a very nice way. So yes, this I haven't read YA contemporary romance in a while, and this is up there. This was really fun. I think it holds up to like today's standards. I don't think it's the case of a lot of YA contemporary romances, but this one, it holds up. This is really fun. The other one is Les Passages Secrets by Axel Lenoir et Trompe-l'œil. And even though it's pivotal because, what does she call it? Her parallel universe twin dies, and that's kind of how she starts her story. And then their story is basically autobiographical, but like with a bit of fiction, of course, because there's this part. And yeah, this was fun. I don't think I'll continue. This is a series actually, and I don't think I'll continue it. I don't regret reading and buying it because I like Edition Pau Pau, and I was very curious about this, so I'm glad I read it. It just wasn't for me, and also at the time was not what I thought it would be, which was a bummer. So yeah. But if you like fictionalized autobiographies, and if you're looking for one that's like, the story starts very young. She's like 5 maybe or 6, and she has like a little brother, an older brother, and it's cute. It's a cute dynamic. So if you're looking for like a family dynamic and like how she grew up, like I wouldn't even say coming of age yet. Maybe coming of age would be like the next book. But more like her childhood memories, and in this childish point of view. Like, for example, she sees her parents as aliens. I think it's so cute. I think you would enjoy this. Like, if you go in like looking for that, you would enjoy this. So there's that. And then we have Snapdragon by Kat Lee. And again, this a lot of things die, if I can say it like that. And it is pivotal because, well, Snapdragon, I'm gonna call her Snap. Snap ends up going to the witch's house because she's, you know, like every neighborhood has their like witch or something. And in this case, she goes because she lost her puppy. And then her puppy is there. And then she goes to like retrieve him. And yeah, she kind of has this altercation with the witch and finds the witch kind of doing weird things, like going around picking up dead bodies of like roadkills. And it kind of starts from there, you know, like she's like asking what's going on, what's happening and everything, and it kind of develops this story. It's super cute. I wonder what I want to read more of Cat Lee because the story was adorable, but also the art and the color palette were incredible. I love the story. Everything was so well like, I don't know, it was so well told that at every moment I was like, oh my god, yes, of course, I love it. And like I was surprised almost every time, and in a good way. And there's no giant reveal, but kind of. And just in general, it's just a lot of things are happening and it's awesome. I really enjoyed this so much. So yeah, definitely gonna look for more Cat Lee's graphic novels. Hopefully she has more out there. So yeah, this was really fun. And then the last one is pretty pivotal. It's M is for Monster by Talia Dutton. So this basically the story starts because Dr. Francis's sister, Maura, I'm gonna say Maura, but I don't think that's the pronunciation that you were going for, but her sister died and she's trying to bring her back. So yeah, that's pretty much like what drives the story. And of course what she brings back is M, which is not Maura and it's not her sister per se, but she is haunted by her sister's ghost. And so it entails this whole thing of Frances going a little bit crazy because she's not sure that the experiment worked and all she really wanted was to bring her sister back. On the other side, M is this new person that was created, and so she kind of is in between pretending to be Maura but also wanting to discover who she is as this new being. And it was really entertaining. I really loved it. And again, a color palette that I really enjoyed. Very limited to those greenish, bluish hues. And it works so well for this story. I really enjoyed it. It was really entertaining and a very interesting take on the whole Frankenstein idea, I guess. So yeah, that was really fun. So yeah, those are all the books that I read this month. It's a lot. I did read a lot, mostly because it was, you know, a lot of graphic novels, so I went through those pretty quickly. I just wanted to see how many I read because I don't think I counted them. Let's see. I read 15 books. It's a lot. Honestly, I feel a bit of steam going out of me. So I think in November I'm gonna read a lot less. But who knows? I don't know, honestly. I really don't know. So we'll see. So far I already read one book. We're November 4th. So it's not so bad. I am in like almost finishing another one though. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think it'll be as bad just because I'm not doing reading vlogs this month. I'm taking a bit of a break and I'm gonna do like these shorter versions of videos. Hopefully you still enjoy them. And I'll try to keep to at least 1 or 2 a week. But yes, because I'm not doing the reading vlogs, I feel like I will feel less accountable of reading a lot of books so I can talk to you about all the books that I read and sharing as much information as I have for you guys on like who do I recommend it, do I not recommend it, what was it about, did I enjoy it or not. So I think it's gonna make me pace myself a little bit more. And yes, I enjoyed this month. I think it was a success. I didn't have any 5 stars. I think my highest rating was The Angel of Indian Lake, which I gave, if not 4.5, like 4.75. Basically rounded up to a 5. And it's the only high rating that I've had this month. So it was a decent month because I had a lot of very good graphic novels that I discovered. But on the other hand, I was, yeah, the books were always kind of like, yeah, it was entertaining, but like nothing to write home about. So hopefully next month I get to find like 5-star books. I don't know. That's gonna be it for me on this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can like if you enjoyed this video. You can comment. Out of all these books, did you read any of them and did you enjoy it? What did you read this month? What was your favorite actually? Like I told you, mine was The Angel of Indian Lake. What was your like top read of the month? So yeah, and you can subscribe if you like this content. I'll be posting at least one video per week, so you'll have a little bit more of like what I'm reading and my thoughts on books. And yeah, I hope you enjoy your day. Happy reading. Bye. No estoy pendiente a lo que tú estás haciendo.